Sensitivity is intelligence. With grace and skill, you have abundance. Welcome to the Psychic Hour. Host Kelly Brickle is a psychic medium healer, numerologist, and teacher. Her passions are learning about the soul and energy. Whether it's through spirit, emotion, or vibrational numbers, there's always a pathway of information waiting to help. Now, here is your host of the Psychic Hour, Kelly Brickle.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Psychic Hour. This is our reading show that we have every week, and I always dive into kind of whatever topic is on the forefront, and then away we go into readings about, 10, 15 minutes and in depending. But this is the perfect time for questions if you have regarding that within a reading or just like within your own spiritual development and experiences. I am a psychic medium, numerologist, and healer, so I've dealt with energy for the past 10 years plus, definitely professionally for the past 10 years. So I've seen a lot of fun stuff and experienced a lot of fun stuff, and I'm always growing. I'm always a proponent that we're always growing and always developing ourselves. Hello, Torin. Hey, it's great to see you. Big hearts to you as well. Whew. I love the hearts in the eyes. That's really cool. Hi, Luana. Hello. It's always nice to see people. It really is. And so today we're going to be doing the readings in a little bit, taking some cards, and also numerology readings. So popping down your numbers. If you have a birth date you would like to share, that helps me tune into your numbers and your charts and aspects, and I will dive into what I'm getting for you, or if you have a specific question attached to that too as well. Hope to see you in Tampa in December. Yeah, that's actually coming to fruition. It really is. That is an event with Lisa Williams. She's doing a psychic class in December in Florida in the United States, and master teachers through her school. I'm one of the master teachers at the school, as Torin is, are helping out and teaching, and it's going to be all week. It's gonna be like 5 days. I think it's a 4-day class, and then there's an additional class afterwards. There's a trans class too, regarding with mediumship. So it's a really fun opportunity, and I will be talking about it more. And I am planning to go, actually. So I got to touch base with Torin. That's really cool. But please, yeah, there's so many opportunities out here in the world, and there's some really good quality teachers. So if you are looking to do an in-person, because there hasn't been a lot of in-person events with psychic, yeah, check out Lisa Williams events. And yeah, she always has a really comprehensive, really good class. I highly recommend it. So I'll be talking about that more upcoming too as well. Welcome, Michelle. And if you're from the UK or if you're from Australia, make sure you write out your month. Whether you're from the US too, because the United States and the UK or Australia, they actually flip their days and their months. So that could offset me with a numerology reading, if that makes sense. The way things are added a little bit, it can offset certain things. So make sure if it, like someone just popped on 525. And so like, yeah, there's no month that's 25. So that's very safeguarded. But thank you. And then, yeah, looking forward. That's really cool. I'm going to see you. I'm going to see you in person. I love that. That's so cool. And like Torin's all the way from Norway. She's coming from Norway to Florida. I think that's fantastic. That's fantastic. I have to get over to Norway. I would love to go to Norway. Never been. I would love it so much. They have a lot of gorgeous fish dishes. I can imagine. It's abundant. The fish is abundant in Norway, and I love fish. That's where my brain goes to food sometimes. Hello, Tina. Hello. Yes, so like everyone just pop down your numbers, and we will go in a little bit. And the theme that I'd kind of like to talk about today the inspiration is the word creation. And I really believe wholeheartedly, and I do think this is connected to spiritually how we are led to, is with the energy of co creation, you know? We come from, some people believe, a creator, or we are the creators. And I like to think that we are all connected. So I like the co creation aspect. But regardless, we are creators. And sometimes life has blockages for us, or sometimes life has changes for us. And we really have to pivot and steer in these directions and in these patterns that really are very intuitive, or they're full of considerations where we might not be able to be given all the answers. And so sometimes we pray, sometimes, like I said, we connect to something higher than ourselves, like even in meditation, or we just ask for help around us. Like, right? If something's crazy, don't you call a friend or a family member? You're just like, what do I do? Where do I go? And it's kind of funny because there's always a way forward. There's a saying that if you don't know the way forward, create it. And yes, sometimes we don't know how to create it ourselves. That's absolutely okay. And that's absolutely true. And so that's why we call upon help, whether on this earth or not from this earth, we call upon help. And there's always something co created to make us go forward. I mean, like, just think about it. Think about all the great, wonderful people that you know, that you look up to within your life, or some crazy successful companies within the world. The reason that they are where they are, I'm going to start with the crazy companies, is like they came up with a solution, or they came up with a product that no one else was doing, whether that product was completely unique or it solved a problem that other people weren't solving themselves. Um, in current society. So they created the way. They created a new product. And think about like all the gazmos and gadgets in our house, gadgets, right? You kind of look at something and go, how did someone come up with this, right? How did someone come up with this idea? It's just like considerations, just like hot chocolate. How is chocolate created? It's fermented cacao. It's fermented cacao beans. And cacao beans themselves are actually not that interesting, not that flavorful. They're actually very pungent. But somebody thought to ferment them. It goes back to the origins of Mexico. Someone thought to ferment them and bring out this certain flavor profile, mix it with sugar, and created chocolate. And even before that, it was still fermented, and it was created into a drink with other, with cinnamon, for instance, to bring out its beautiful properties. And so you have something that is just like, how could ever something that pungent taste that wonderful? Well, someone had that idea. Someone brought that into creation. And you think about the people that you love and you look up to, whether it's your aunt, your uncle, your dad, your mom, or your brother, or a friend. They did something to surmount something within their life. Whether they give you so much love, because no matter how hard life is or how hard it beats them down, there's still a light. They still have hope, or they give that to you, right? Maybe life is rocky, but they always give that to you, because no matter what, their love for you is so great. That's something admirable. That's something uplifting. And you look to those people. Or stories from grandparents or parents or anyone in the family where they went through adversity, and you go, wow, like that is quite incredible. Like, they had to create the way. Does that make sense? They were given obstacles, just like we have obstacles in our normal life, and they had stamina, and they had guidance, whether through, sometimes it's just, yes, maybe it feels like luck, maybe it feels like just a circumstance opens up, but they had the stamina and the tenacity to withstand the trials that brought them up to this point, so they can recount and retell and inspire and share. And it sounds very simple sometimes, these things that are mentioned, and maybe not. Maybe people understand the profound nature of it. But they had to create the way. I'm going to keep returning back to it. And for anything that comes forth, it's either someone reaches out and helps and creates the way, or we do it ourselves. And that's how we survive. That's how we continue to manifest. That's how we grow. And it really comes from those simple seeds of understanding why we love the people we do, why the people are in our life, and why they give us so much are just based on some of these principles that I like to talk about sometimes, because we don't really think about spiritual principles with how they aligned with just our simple everyday life of how we get from, opening our eyes in the morning to going to sleep and doing it all over again and everything in between. We don't really think about that. But like a principle that made me think about this, and it's simple again, it's quite simple, is so I'm in Illinois right now. I'm originally from California, so I live in Orange County, but I'm in Illinois visiting my family because they are selling their house, right? I have a lot of family members selling their houses right now, actually. So I've been in multiple places, not just Illinois, dealing with house selling. It's kind of funny. Um, so, I'm here and I'm, helping to just like go through some things, and it's not that super extensive, but it's great to see family, right? And I was traveling and I go, wow, I forgot some of my cards. I forgot some of my cards that I usually always bring with me. And so what I did in the name of creation and that obstacle is I had index cards around, and I started to feel and sense um, certain archetypes, right? That I just started writing down on cards, right? And I'm just like, okay, this is a meaningful archetype. I feel through this. I want to write down that. And I put down metaphors on each of the cards, and I created a small deck of cards so I would be able to have that if I needed that for today. And I do teach a class called the card creation class, so it fell on principles of that, right? And that's why the class is so cool, because you can actually make things meaningful, heartfelt, spirit connected, with authenticity, actually quite quickly, as an oracle to use, as a tool to use. It doesn't, and I'm the firm believer, it doesn't have to be fancy. And I talk about it a lot. Anything can be an oracle, like people read tea leaves. I have tea right here, but it's not, there's no tea leaves. Coffee grounds. People can read the energy of rooms, and I just I it never gets old to me. It never gets old how, you can just tune into the most simple things, and then information and energy just comes alive. And I do think, and I will always continue to talk about these simple concepts of life and how they are so spiritually profound. And that's the same way within readings, honestly. It just is beautiful to me. So, hello, Tina, and hello, Julie. Hello, I would love to work with you here in Norway. I would too. It'd be an honor. You're always welcome to California too, Turin, please. Hello, Tristan. Hello, hello. So we're gonna get into readings, and whether it's numbers or if you'd like some card pulls, you let me know if you have a preference. If not, I just go how I go. All right. So we will do it such as that. And okay. So I always take a drink of tea before I begin, or water. I have some Tulsi tea today. It's delicious, honestly. I love Tulsi tea. Okay, so from the top, I think Michelle was first. She had a numerology question. So let's get her numbers. Just doing the math. And as you know, the first one always takes a little bit more time, because that's how we open up the energy. Okay. Right, that's right. Always double checking the math. Yep. Mm-hmm. Yep, that's right. Okay, cool. Excellent. Okay, so this is for Michelle. And Michelle, you have within your birth numbers, because I always like to talk about numerology is very, very extensive. It covers addresses, dates, phone numbers, even websites. It covers things within the name and the number territory because names can be broken down to numbers. So this is a snippet, but a very important snippet of someone's life because it's their birthday numbers. Okay? So I know from seeing these numbers that when she is comfortable, she's a very talkative person, a very creative person, someone who's very expressive and fun. And well, her life path is a 3 too. So she has a lot of bubbly energy and she really lives her life sometimes for others, and that can be a detriment in some areas because that 3, like, it's the natural entertainer, whether they're thinking about it or not. Like, subconsciously you're always pulled to entertain, make someone smile, make someone laugh, say like a quip. It's almost like there's all these ideas always percolating and you just want to see someone smile, so all that creative energy does get utilized actually quite well. And you don't think much of it because there's so much of it. And so anytime I see somebody with a lot of 3s, and you have 3s in very important placements, I encourage somebody to get out into a scenario within their job or within a hobby where they are able to be like a speaker of other people or a speaker of something that they believe in, or a natural the performer of they're doing something creative where they're using their voice, because 3 is all about like the energy of hearing and speaking, listening, and like receiving and sharing. Okay, so there has to be that like cycle to feel fulfilled and complete. So like a performer needs an audience needs to hear what's being said, right? Like a podcast even. I the psychic hour. This is very fulfilling for 3 energy. It really is, because I'm speaking and other people are hearing, and I just hope what I'm sharing is impactful. And there's that loop of give, receive, give, receive. That's very, very important for a 3 to feel again fulfilled. So I'm putting that out there. Your ideas have to be heard. If it's something more conventional in work, there needs to be a position where you are leading meetings or talking within meetings or presenting or being the voice of some people within the department. So it doesn't have to be traditional management, but there has to be some type of leadership involved where you can be the voice of people. Okay, so I always give that to people if I see a lot of 3s present. You're in a cycle 9. This is very good and a little difficult. Cycle 9s are very good years, but they're always like a little bit difficult. So you're asking me, wondering you're wondering if 2023 would be a better year for you. That's a very relevant question for someone with a cycle 9. Let me tell you. So a cycle 9 is all about like change. It's the energy of death. It's the energy of transformation. So very good year because it allows for transformation. But what happens is transformation can be grueling. So that 9 energy deals a lot with like past, healing, forgiveness, family. It deals with death. So sometimes it's letting relationships go, or actually someone physically passing away within your life that is impactful. Um, it can be a very rough year, but 9 is a very spiritual year. It really is. It makes you more empathetic. It makes you more aware. It makes you more present within your life. So my advice to you is to really embrace this year. I know it's been hard, but to sit down and go, wow, like I've already changed so much this year, and to really understand that I've been able to do some of the things I haven't been able to do in like 10 years, 20 years. I've had some resolution in that, and that will give yourself a sense of confidence and peace, honestly. So going into next year, you will be in a cycle of 1. That is an easier year. It just is. It's good with your numbers too, as well. It really is good with your numbers. Just like this year is actually good with your numbers, but it's a difficult concept year. One is all about rebirth. One is all about I get to take what I learned or what has happened, and I get to reap in some of those transformative benefits. I feel refreshed. I feel like you know there's no blockages. It's just full system go. And so a lot of things happen quite quickly in a year one. So get your goals ready. That's what I said. The new year, whether it's Christmas or the new year, write down your goals and manifest, because come January, things are going to move quite quickly for you, and you're not going to feel the same burdens or heaviness that have been coming off, healed, released, or brought up to the surface this year. Very different year next year. So I want to give you that, Michelle. And that's Michelle with a K. Okay, Michelle Krantz, because we have sometimes people hear other Michelles, right? So heads up with that. Now we're going to Lana. I think that's how you say your name, Lana. That's a beautiful way to spell it too. It's almost like fauna, like flora and fauna. Lana. It's beautiful. Okay. Oh, thank you. Thank you for putting down your full. That helps. That helps. Okay. And so, if that makes sense, Michelle with a K, I think she was in and out. Oh, no, she got it. All right, thank you. If that makes sense, let me know. I'm glad you got it. Thank you, thank you. All right, so we're to Lana. Yes. Okay, cool. Thank you. I said your name correctly. I love the spelling. I really do. Okay. All right. Just doing the math. Okay. And all right. You're in a cycle of 2 this year. Okay, that can be a little bit difficult. No worries. So when I talk about cycle numbers, everyone has a different cycle number every year, and everyone will have a different one. Like, everyone, like I have, let's say, a 9, but someone this year will have a 3 or a 5 or a 2, and it's all dependent on your individual chart. And some numbers, depending on your chart, this is like, back to how individual we are harder for others. Like a 2 might be easy for me, but then a 2 might be very difficult for someone else. A 9 might be easier for me than someone else, things like that. So one size does not fit all. That's for sure. Within astrology, within numerology, within energy, one size does not fit all. Okay, so back. All right. Okay, I love it. Cool. So Lana, it's interesting because you have an attitude 5 and a life path 2. And so those are important placements of those numbers, but they work in opposite ways. So this lets me know that you are a very sensitive person who needs time to recharge. But in other ways, you can be very polar opposite, where sometimes you're very like spontaneous. You need to just like go with whatever feels right, and you can kind of, you don't need to plan, and you kind of just, you need to be extroverted. You need to be extroverted in life to feel like you are recharged. So it's like this kind of, it's this back and forth of you know well, I'm out and about and I'm alive, but then I feel drained. But then, I'm at my house and I feel like this is really good for me. I'm taking care of myself, and now I'm bored. Like you need very much both. So it's like it's like a complex equation rather than a contradiction. But some of that what's in the equation goes against each other at times. Okay, so I want to give that to you. You have that 5 energy, but you also have that 2 energy, and so 2 needs things to be go slow. Things needs things to be more gentle. And 5, it likes a quicker pace. 5 likes surprises. 5 likes being, scared at times and being like, this is fun, like holy. And 2's like, oh my gosh, I'm so sensitive. I'm empathic. I don't I don't like to be jolted. So this is kind of like some of the energy that I'm talking about. You're in a cycle of 2, so that's actually really good for you. Honestly, it's a little difficult but good at the same time, kind of what we're talking about. And the cycle 2 like forces somebody to have a more emotional year. So it's a year, especially because it lines up with your life path, that deals with concepts of love, healing, trust, compassion, being more sensitive, opening up your intuition. It's all those feeling numbers. So feelings can be really awesome and feelings can be really tough, right? And you're going to be dealing with the peaks and valleys of that for this year. You are a personal day 3-2 as well, so you attract people very naturally to you. People gravitate very naturally to you, and your life path too. So, like, you naturally take care of others, you oversee, nurture. You're very much a people person, that's for sure. So, when a cycle of 2 happens for a hardcore people person, it's about kind of going within a little bit so you can love even harder and deeper and truer. And 2 is really a number of like empathy and healing. And ultimately, what you do is you bring peace to an environment. You bring peace to the environment of your inner world, and you do it so much that you start to change other people's environments, and it ripples into them changing their inner world, whether it's their thoughts, belief systems, feelings, right? And that 2 energy really needs to be strong within to do that, because 2 is all about peace. It's all about inner relations and peace. And so I give that to you. Really take extra time. I know it's towards the end of the year, but take extra time to go within, because you will actually be able to help people, love people, and connect with people much more deeper and truer because of that. You are guiding a lot of people and lifting a lot of people up, and you're the lifeline for a lot of people. So really take that time to know that you're not saying no to people. You're saying, hold on, I'm doing me. I'll see you soon. Okay. So I'm going to give you that. Hopefully that makes sense. She says, I spent a lot of time this year recovering from past challenges in life, especially the past few months. Well, it's not over. It's not over. And really take time to heal properly from that, reflect spiritually, go within. And it's an information, this information is an invitation to transform, honestly, and to be a lot more, how can I put it? When someone has a life path too, a lot of times they feel out of balance. No matter how much they are careful about their diet or sleeping, a lot of times they feel very unbalanced. And they're just like, wow, I feel off, or like I never quite feel sometimes really strong within myself. There's times I do. And that's a recurring theme for it too. It just is, because the 2 is always tapping into another. The 2 is always tapping into a situation and environment. And they're saying, how can I balance this? So they're always tuning to make things better. And so that's why when they tune into themselves, they're so aware of what's out of whack. Okay. So when you have that life path 2 and that cycle 2 happening, which is this year, you have the invitation to tremendous transformation through the emotional realm and your stability. So you're going to feel actually quite rock solid if you give the time and attention to yourself that you properly need. You'll feel tremendous, like, like relief. So I want to give that to you. Okay. All right. So who is next? Let's see. Michelle, the other Michelle. Cool. So Michelle H. Good evening. I've got a lot of 9s. That's cool. We welcome the different numbers, and some of them are abundant in one placement or or type of vibration. So, okay, thank you. Right. So, okay, we got another attitude 3 going on. That's always fun. Okay. 7, a 7 plus. All right. Double checking that. Yep, that's right. Okay, cool. So, yeah, I've been getting a lot of attitude 3s lately, like from past shows and this show. And I think it's really needed because that cycle 9, because you're in a cycle 9 right now as well. It's kind of like a real doozy. It's just I think a lot of people have been having difficult years for different reasons, okay? And yeah, it's there's been a lot more stress. I think a lot of people are just feeling people's pain more easily, people's anguish, people's cries for help and despair. I think, like, as a society, we're becoming much more empathetic. So we understand um, the devastation or the uncertainty or the confusion. And I think a lot of people have been feeling that. I think a lot of people have been feeling that for some time, honestly, but now it's more collectively shared and expressed, and it's out there. It's not ignored. That's so important. How can I There's a reason I'm talking about this, and it does correlate in some way to you, Michelle, but it's so important to talk about because a lot of times, people were so emotionally suppressed. And I'm talking about like a global sense first. So work with me, Michelle, that the problems going on were not really looked at in the emotional capacity. They were not dealt with in that way. And now people are really like emotionally being triggered and stimulated in new ways. And so we have to go through it to transcend it. We have to go through it to process it. So I really do think on the other side of things, the world is going to be in a much better place, but this is a very emotional time with a lot of ups and downs and peaks and valleys. And so a cycle 9 can feel in almost a metaphor to that way. Okay. Um, I talked about earlier, a cycle 9 is about like transformation and death. Okay. Yes, we talk about transformation a lot in cycle numbers. We just do. It's a cycle. It's important to talk about that. But a 9, that's really the archetype at hand. So it's really like tripled when a 9 comes into someone's cycle number. Um, they're really met with these challenges and changes where they're kind of forced to participate. So it's great because it's like the resistance that was once there isn't there. And so you're kind of being dragged along as life goes instead of going, I'm not doing that. I'm not comfortable with that. Yeah, sorry, that's not going to happen. No, it happens and you get dragged along at times. And the great thing is it facilitates that next step. It really does. And it forces you to look at all the things maybe you couldn't see or you wanted to see, but it just wasn't the right time. So I really invite you to go into that medicine. And the reason I say the word medicine is because that 9 is all about bringing things to the surface. And that 9 is about facilitating the truth to come and to refresh and renew. Um, yes, next year will be easier. It actually will. You also have the numbers of 1, 2, 3, which I always like to talk about. Anytime someone has in their attitude, personal day, and life path a number of 1, 2, 3, it sounds kind of funny, but there's a saying in numerology: life is as easy as 1, 2, 3. And so, what has happened in your life? You've had this like tremendous tenacity, and you have like quite like a thick skin where you can kind of just like it's kinda like that creative and the creator, like, energy that I talked about earlier in the show. It's like life just finds a way and you're tremendously resourceful and resilient, and so I just wanna give that back t y I mean, it's never taken away, but I just wanna give that, I guess, truth, some highlight. That's what I wanna say. Again, you're tremendously, tenacious and resourceful, and this year is just kind of doing its job of breaking you down so it can build you back up even stronger. And I just want to give that to you. Okay? Some reassurance and some understanding. So thank you, Michelle, for popping down your numbers. I hope that gave you some clarity. Okay. Our numbers are so interesting, Rose. They really are. And so when we pair birth charts as well with names and other factors, things actually start getting much more interesting and much more predictive because you oversee someone's complete chart. So I have like a portion of the chart with the birthday, right? And it starts becoming more and more filled in the more information you get. And then you get like some really cool, accurate readings. And you can talk to someone about their chart for like 3 hours and you're not even done because there's just so much information so specific to what is helpful to them. And that's why I love numerology. you know I love the freedom of when things transcend modalities. I really do. So I'm a fan of mediumship and psychic energies, but mediumship and psychic energies can come into play within modalities such as, you know, readings of cards or numbers when they need to. It's just you just invite that to come in while that's happening. But the cool thing is the modalities have so many ways to go that it's so fun. It's so fun. And I hope that makes sense when I talk about it because there's endless things to learn. So no one's ever bored, even if like you're boxed with the modality at times. I have a Gemini rising, so like, my Gemini is like, woo 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 woo. I want to be free. I want to learn like as much as I can. I have that vibe to me. Okay. Julie, thank you for your comment. Michelle, oh yes. Michelle F, yes. They come and they go. Exactly. It always happens. Okay, let's see. Holly is next. Thank you, Michelle. Thank you for understanding. Thank you. Bless your heart too. All right. So we have a 7 doing Holly's numbers. Cool. And we have another attitude 5. 3s and 5s on the show today. Very cool. So 6. And yep. And we have another life path too. Look at that. Okay. Yep. That's correct. All right. So I love this. I love when we have similar numbers, and it happens a lot because it's kind of like if you've ever been a part of like a gallery reading, or if you've ever heard this concept, like piggybacking a reading, or the reading's meant for you, multiple messages. Um, if you have similar numbers and similar placements, like the things that I said for another person can be applied to you as well. Yes, they're not going to be as specific because I'm tapping into energy while I'm talking. Like I will. It's beautiful with numerology because it's like, yes, the archetypes are the same, but sometimes I'll talk about different things with different people because the energy stimulates and opens up something very specific for them that doesn't apply to another person. But just be open-minded because it could apply to you. That's what I like to say. Okay. So with Holly, you are an attitude 5. And I always like to give this to people. When someone's an attitude 5, their life is meant to have multiple experiences. Their life is meant to have multiple jobs. You will never have a cookie cutter life because life is meant to be sampled and experienced. And you prescribe to that. Like, yes, everyone's going to sample life, but a 5 does so in a much more intense way than the average person. All about freedom and exploration and adventure for a 5. And so that's your attitude in life. So really embrace that, and to know that if you're ever bored within a job, that is an indication to start to look for another job, because your life is meant to sample and to connect different things to one another rather than putting time and energy like 10 years into one skill and becoming like, I'm climbing up the ladder and this is who I am. You can do that only if constantly throughout those 10, 20 years, that your job allows you to go in different avenues and angles where you're never bored. That's the secret. Don't be bored. Okay? Fives can't stand to be bored. You're a life path too, so you're actually a very loyal person. You are a natural empath, and you're very sensitive to others. I actually think it'd be really interesting for you to take like a Reiki class or a psychic development class. I think it would stimulate a lot of really cool ideas with what you want to do with your life, and for you to have an understanding and confidence in who you are as a person for whatever that you do choose. You can live life with those principles and understanding to back you and to make you more successful, to have your gut be strong, to have your intuition be strong and be in touch with your feelings. Since you are a life path too, that information is gold and that information is valuable. And so please sprinkle it within your life. Take some intuitive development and healing classes. Maybe you've already done this, but I really think it's important with your energy, Holly, for sure. Okay. And your personal day is 7. So um, other people actually consider you to be quite intelligent. Sometimes, um, you know, you will kind of stand more like off to the side because you're observing, you're gathering. But really, once people get to know you, like you're really in the mix, you're really easy to get to know. You're incredibly friendly and you have a lot of natural people numbers. It's just like on first impression, someone might not think you're as extroverted as you are at times. And that's like the first initial impression, not after they've just started to know you. Because your personal day number is a 7, and that is a more introverted impression, even though you're nothing of the sort. Okay. So you're in a cycle of 2 as well. So heads up, it's a more emotional year, and it pairs beautifully with finding strength and certainty within your intuitive side and using that as a compass and a light rather than a detriment and a sorrow. Okay. So, Holly, if that makes sense with you, let me know. I'm going to pull some cards for you too because I want to use some cards. Everyone has been very numerology forward today, and I love it. I actually really love it. Okay. So I'm going to pull a card for you, Holly. Absolutely, Holly. And anyone else who wants to pop down? Oh, I have to do Rose still. I overlooked Rose. Rose, you're next. Okay, and we're going to be doing numerology for you too. Okay, so Holly. Okay. So I got... Okay, cool. I love it. So I got the green chakra energy card, and so that deals with like making sure that you pay attention to your heart, making sure you pay attention to the concept of loving yourself unconditionally. And it's about healing. It's about opening up your ability to give and receive. And it's about really like, it deals a lot because there's a lot of green energy in the card. And when there's green energy in the card, it's about making your physical body like strong through your emotions. I mean that by like starting to kind of like, if you have a thought about something, how does that make me feel? And where do I feel that in my body? Do I feel the happiness in my smile? Do I feel the happiness in my knees, in my feet? Does it make me want to dance? Do I feel the happiness in my heart? Where is my pain and sadness? Do I carry it on my shoulders? Is it in the pit of my stomach? Do I get a pain in my pelvis? It's about taking your emotions and understanding how it affects you physically. And since you start to understand that and have that relationship with yourself, you actually start to like heal physically with your body or strengthen your body and really take charge of inventory of your emotions and energy and loving yourself. So that comes in very strong about like really having more confidence and strength and vitality in your body, thus more healing, not just emotional. And it comes up because, you just I got the feeling unstable card. So it's like I haven't been feeling quite balanced. That's a theme within someone's life path too, though, if they are that, because the life path too is all about balance and assessing others versus the self, environments versus the self. Um, so the route to that through healing is really the emotions and strengthening the body. And it's great because I pulled the card tomorrow tells a different tune for your future pace. So it's all about like, you have been doing the work, you'll continue to do the work. This is a route and an answer to actually strengthen and speed up the work. If you really are wondering like, hey, what should I be doing? This comes in strong. So there you go. All right. Rose, and then Julie, you are next. Okay. So Rose, hi Gina. Welcome, welcome. We'll see if we'll see if we have time. You are going to be after Julie. I'll do something small if we have little time, but absolutely, Holly. Absolutely, absolutely. Sometimes I just want to pull some cards because they're fun. They really are. So thank you. So Rose, let's get your numbers. I'm going to scroll up. Oh, look at that. We have another attitude 3. Haha. Another attitude 3. Rose, you're an attitude 3. You are a personal day 4. And let's see, you are 6. Your life path 9, I believe. Let's double check that. That's right. That's right. Wait. I jumped the gun, did I? No. That's right. That's right. Yep, that's right. Yes. Okay, cool. Right. So you are a life path 9, personal day 4, attitude 3, and you're in a cycle of 9 again. So we're talking about cycle 9 a lot. It's just the reaffirmation, Rose, of that this year hasn't been the typical, like, by any means, and a lot of changes have been coming up to make you feel like, wow, I'm getting a lot done. So in a sense, it's actually rather beautiful if I really want to look at the overall year, but it hasn't been easy. There's been a lot going on. I have a lot on my plate. But your life path is also a 9, and anytime someone has a life path that matches a cycle 9, there's actually like a lot of beauty in that year, and there's a lot of insight, and there's a lot of growth in that year, and it's very positive. It gives an invitation to be incredibly creative and incredibly it's like a fire comes back alive. Okay, it's like this renewed source of, when someone gets like a strike of lightning, lightning's like plasma, it's very fire energy. You get like these bolts of inspiration and be like, aha, whether it's a spiritual inspiration and insight into your own life or fuel for a project that you are doing. Life carries you rather nicely this year. There's a good flow to it, and let me know if you can understand that too as well. So you have a personal day 4, and when someone has a personal day 4, they're taken seriously on first impression, and they always interview better than most, so they can secure some of those jobs better than most. You're a life path 9 too, so anytime someone has that, there's always going to be an issue of boundaries that they have to look at within their life, because people with a lot of 3s and 9s actually aren't the best with boundaries because they're natural helpers, they're natural people. 6s are as well, but 6s take authority. They welcome authority and structure a little bit more than the threes and nines. The threes and nines are much more like free spirits. They really are. And so they have to like really be specific with telling others, like, this is how you love me. This is what you do. This is what you don't do. They have to forgive, and they have to like let people know who they are so they can be truly honored. And it's so important because a life path 9, their life, and especially that people number of 3, they go out of their way to do things for others because they really feel called to help. And the right thing is just the right thing to them. So they'll find themselves in situations that other people won't be in, and it'll be kind of be like, am I the only one here? Everyone else was busy, but yeah, I was willing to show up because it was the right thing to do. So you always have to make sure at the end of the day that you're compensated in a way that honors yourself, or you pick your battles. You pick your battles and you go, I can take one for the team here, but then in this category, I really have to stand up and respect myself and lay down the law. And really, that comes foremost with your energy when I talk to you. And I'm glad you understand this, Rose. And so, what I invite you to do with this year is to really, really put the intention of boundaries even stronger out into the world. And the world will answer back, especially this year, because woof, does your lessons will boomerang very fast this year. So ask your question out into the universe, or ask the universe, or spirit, your God, or through prayer, how can I maintain certain boundaries? What do I have to do next? And the universe will show you somebody in the form of a person, in a form of an aha moment, a realization. This is the year. This is the year to really have things come to you like lightning. Okay, so embrace that with the lessons, and embrace that with manifesting. Girl, if you've been overthinking something and you're like, for some reason it's dropping into my head 3 months ago, like 3 months ago, if you're wanting to go somewhere or work on something, I feel like it's more like going somewhere. Go and do it. Book it. Book it. Get it on the schedule. Get it on the schedule. Get the payment set. Just don't be like, oh, the closer I'll get, sure, maybe I'll get more real. I'll be more realistic with it. Maybe I'll get more actualize with it. No, 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 no. Like, actually get it done. You want to do it, get it done, get it started. And then the energy like settles, and it becomes, and then it gives room for other amazing things to happen. If you have that just pending, you don't have room for other things to happen. You just have something pending, this weight kind of just sitting and going, okay, I know you want to do this. Why aren't you listening to yourself and doing this? So get it done and get the next thing along, because you can have a lot of cool things happen this year. And I want to give that to you. Just, if you want to make room for another gift under the tree, open up the one that you've been thinking about and make room for another gift. That's what I have to say to you. Okay. Cool. Let's see. So, Julie, she would love to know what your numbers are. So, Julie, in order to give you your numbers, you have to give me your birth date. Okay. So, pop down your birth date, your month, your day, and your year, and I can give you your numbers, Julie. I can pull some cards for you. If not, okay, cool. Thank you. She was right there. She was right there. Absolutely, Rose. Thank you. Okay. So your attitude 9, Julie, your personal day 2, and your life path is 8, I believe. Yep, that's right. Okay. And then you're in a cycle of 6. Okay, so Julie, yep, attitude 9, personal day 2, life path 8, cycle of 6 from your birthday numbers. And so this is always a fun one. When someone is an attitude 9, they don't ever really have a type when they're dating. or what they're attracted to. They're more attracted to like the soul and the energy they get from the person, like the vibe, than how someone physically looks. So that's always like a fun little. Sometimes the numbers have like certain ways that they go, and it's fun to talk about. Okay, so a personal day two, when someone has a personal day two, they come off with a more gentle vibration. Um, and so actually, you're much more trustworthy to the average person because someone feels safe with you. They feel like they can open up themselves to you or share things with you for this reason. But also, too, as well, when someone has um, that two placement, people think that they can sometimes take advantage of you. Again, it's like kind of the boundaries thing, because they think, oh, you're nice, or you'll go along with this, and not necessarily you will, but people will try those things on somebody who is a personal day too much more than the average person. Um, when someone has a attitude 9 too, they've had like a usually a little bit rougher upbringing when they were younger, whether they did not have their full family support, where they had to do a lot of things alone, or they had to act like more of a parent or more mature at a younger age, or they were in a position where other people didn't always really understand them. So there is feeling alone growing up and feeling a little bit not understood always at times. That comes into play. Um, with a life path 8, anytime I see a life path 8, a person has to be in a position where they are calling their own shots in life. So there has to be some type of management position or freedom and flexibility where they get to be in a role where um, the person that, you know, above them is not telling them what to do all the time. An 8 needs to go their own way, where they're an entrepreneurial, or they just have the freedom to be themselves and to explore life. So whether you're a homemaker or you're in a position where you have a lot more freedom and flexibility in your job, that's where you need to be. 8s are very detailed people. They're very perceptive people. They're very accomplished people, and they like to get things right. Okay. They like to get things right. They can be very hard on themselves and sometimes other people because of this, because they like to get things right, or they like to do things well. Right. And so, since they can do things right and well, that's why they have to be in those leadership positions, because, you know, they can have that anti authority like vibration, because someone might be telling them to do something and they're like, I actually could do your job better than you. Or I already know this backwards and forwards. Why are you telling this to me? So, I need to give that to you, whether you're a homemaker or whether you are in a position where you're wondering about your job. You do need more freedom and flexibility. And life path 8s, you have to have a partner that gives you that flexibility to be yourself and say what's on your mind. 8s are, like I said, very perceptive and very just natural at wanting to excel and wanting to do things great. So your input is worth a lot. It really is. So someone has to value your input, understand how smart and capable you are, and give you that equality in friendship and relationships. Very, very important. You're in the cycle 6. So a cycle 6 for me, with what I see with people, it deals a lot with family and friends that are like family, but family and very close relationships. And it's all about reevaluating them and finding out what you need. And sometimes you need to talk more with some family members and talk less with some family members. You really need to change um, the the way that you handle the relationships and the communications. Do those relationships that you have, or the frequency of how often you talk to them, serve you right now? If they don't, you need to change things up. You need to change the norm up. And it's all about reevaluating, again, how these relationships affect you. It's a very emotional time to understand how family and friends either lift you up in a way where it can really give you a lot of healing or stress. And this is the precursor to some other cycles going forward. If you don't take into account how those support you, these people support you, and how your lifestyle supports you with those most intimately connected to you, what happens is your emotions suffer and then your physicality suffers. Okay, so it's about really paying attention to your body, with how your life is really supporting you properly, and that comes back to those most close around you, making new friendships, or making actually certain ultimatums or really clear communications of what really works for you, and what you really need to say and to get it off your chest. So I'm giving that to you. I'm glad you can understand that, Julie. And that's my advice: is really speak from the heart, and it will actually give vitality to your body and relief, and to really back yourself in doing what's good for you at the end of the day. Because what's true, um, what's just true and real, will only give you healing and restoration and strength. And it gives a chance for another person to wake up to, and to reevaluate what's true to them. So truth can only help. I'm giving that to you. All right. And Gina, you're next. I can really hear my sinuses while I'm talking. I think my sinuses got hit this week. I'm like talking, I'm like, I sound very nasal. I sound incredibly nasal. Sometimes when I'm traveling, the time zones are a little weird, and I stay up too late too, so that's always fun. Like, my sinuses are getting hit. Um, Thank you so much, Julie. I'm glad you can understand that. I appreciate you. Gina, okay. So she says, love your show. Thank you. I mean, I'll always take a compliment. Thank you, Gina. Would appreciate whatever you see. If you have time, birthday is 11/8. Okay, cool. Let's do a mini for you, Gina. By the hair, you, yeah, with 1 minute to spare, right? It works. It's the Illinois weather. Yes, you're correct. It's the Illinois weather, and things are more humid, and the allergies, and it's really rainy. Oh, I didn't think about that. It's been raining like all day where I am. So that's what's getting my sinuses. Oh, I feel actually very energized, but like I can tell that my sinuses are actually dragging my vitality down a little bit. It's kind of funny. I'm like, I feel great on the inside, but I sound like I've consumed like a gallon of dairy for some reason. Um, okay, I didn't have any dairy when I woke up either. Um, or last night. Oh, I had some milk. Why am I talking about myself so much? Okay, Gina, here we go. All right. Attitude one. I love it. So when someone's an attitude one, it's great, because I always love when I see an attitude one, because it's like, listen to yourself, listen to your truth, because they can do that. If you tell them to do that and remind them of who they are, they can do that. Because like attitude ones, like when they are strong and vital and they feel good in life, they don't care what other people say. They don't care what other people say. They're just going to do what they know is good for them. Okay. And that's one of their superpowers. So, reaffirming that for you. Okay. You have a personal day of 8. So, 8 comes with like a sturdy physical energy. So, when someone sees an 8, they can actually think a lot of different things. They can think, wow, this is a capable person, or wow, like this person comes across as overtly confident, or there's a sense of like, how can I put this? You might dress a little bit in a way where it's a little bit more unique. You appreciate the way you look. You appreciate fashion. People with 8 energy have that physical sturdiness, whether with the way they dress or the way that they come across. Okay. And so people either celebrate it, or they go, wow, okay, that person, the person has got it together, whether with how they feel or how they come across. So let's see if they really walk the talk. So 8 energy is is interesting because a lot of 8s don't even know that they come across that way. They're just like, what? I'm just like myself. I don't feel confident. Like yeah, sure. I like to dress in a certain way. Sure, like I have a certain preference even at times, but it's like I don't really come across that way unless they're like particularly artistic, right? Um, but yeah, other people feel the vibes of the 8. So the great thing about being an 8 in that placement you are is just like have this like humbleness, but know that other people would assume you're much more confident than you are. So you can actually use that to your advantage in leadership roles. You can stand up and stick up for other people, and other people are more likely to listen to you. It's true. And just like lean into that more. You'd be surprised. You are a life path 1 plus your life path 2. Okay, so your life path 2. And when I want to let people know because we've had a lot of 2s on today. Most 2s are life path 11s. Okay. Some life path 2s are 2011s, but most are 11 2s. And so when someone is an 11-2, they have this kind of like natural like itch to always like be better, do better, like to improve their life. They're like there's always something kind of driving them at like below the surface. And to know that you can take that inspiration and you can take that drive to always give that to others, to whether it's a smile, whether it's encouragement, whether it's just always improving your own life. That's something to anyone who is an 11. You are here to heal and teach others, whether it's just showing up, whether it's giving, whether it's healing directly. Just it's that 2 energy is about giving back to others. Like you can't accomplish your life in a solo manner. It always has to be about giving back to others, interacting with others, um, having compassion for others. There's a theme of that at play, okay, for 11-2 always. So you are in a cycle. The last thing I'll say is you are in a cycle of 7 because you are, yep, that's right. You're in a cycle of 7. And when someone's in a cycle of 7, it's a much more quieter year, okay, than some of the other years. And it's an important time of reflection. Okay, it's an important time of reflection, and you need to not have so many plans. You need to have more time alone. um, if you can do something to get onto the world, but you're putting emphasis just on yourself, like sometimes people with 7, they do great with like going to the spa or going to meditation classes. So it's like they're out and about, but they're doing things to focus on the betterment of connecting to themselves. Okay? So, because there has to be like these aha moments and realizations, and 7 is all about the number of truth, as well as 8 is. And you have an 8 in your chart, yes, but really 7 is the theme about going within and finding the answers, taking the knowledge that you have and turning it into wisdom. And that takes time, and that takes life without distractions to cultivate that. So if you're wondering too within projects why things haven't lifted off the ground too as quickly as expected, it's also that 7 energy. It's just a quieter time. It's a quieter time. So giving that to you, Gina, and hopefully that resonates in some way. And yeah, I'm gonna go back to some of my tea and to heal my sinuses. Apparently, I give you so much love and light, and I wish you luck. And everybody, don't forget to live. I will see you next week on Wednesday. We have the spiritual artist Joan Marie on, and she is a fantastic artist. Oh gosh. She'll probably show you some of her work, and she really channels spirit, and she creates these wonderful color works of art It's going to be fun having her on. She's a joy ball. She's bursting with energy. I'm glad that makes sense, Gina. Yeah. It's like all these projects going to, it's either they go to a halt or they move at the speed of molasses. Projects slow down on 7. And it's probably a blessing because it's like what happens is with that extra time, you kind of realize, actually, I'd rather do things differently, whether you find a different person to do the project because they can do it better and luck fell in your lap, or whether you go, yeah, actually, there's a better way to do this because it's always a blessing in disguise. Okay. Thank you, Kevin, so much. Thank you, Gina. Thank you, everyone who stopped by and said hello. It's coming. Let's see. Gina, let's see. I said you're in a cycle. You were going to be an 8 next year. That's really good for selling a house. That's really good. So like 4s and 5s, 6s, and 8s, they're good for selling a house. There's some other numbers that are too as well. But next year you'll be in an 8, and it's just that you're going to be an 8 and then go into a 9. So within the next year, you're going to be fine. You're going to be fine. It's all about like reaffirming and getting ready for change. And just next year, really pay attention to your health though, Gina. You know, you can actually catch it a little bit early this year if you want. But 8 next year is all about like truth, consequence, justice, in the form of physical things. 7 is truth in the form of spiritual and like things of the mind and analytics and reason. The 8 is all about truth of the body and physicality. So I always tell people, hey, an 8 year is a number of making sure your health is in order or healing the body, okay? Or getting things back into equilibrium. So if you're in a 7, just go in early and really tend to yourself. You can catch things. So, yep. So with that said, there's so much to say, there's so much to do, there's so much to read. Thank you so much, everybody, for coming today. It's been a pleasure. And again, I'm going to say it. It's on loop, but it's from the heart. Go with love, luck, light, and don't forget to live. I will see you again. Thank you, everybody, for coming. See you soon.
The truth is here and now on WLTK-DB Talk Radio at WLTK-DB.com.